intellects, vast, cool, and unsympathetic, regarded this earth with envious eyes and slowly and surely drew their plans against us.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to 2016. Yes, we've gone through a whole of the year. We're still here in the bunker, surviving. Supplies are running a little bit low. We might have to go out and scavenge again at some point during this year, but yeah, for now it's okay. This is the PC Invasion podcast. Hello, I'm Peter Parrish. I'm here with Paul Younger. Hey, Paul.
Happy 2016!
We made it. Wasn't that nice?
Barely made it.
Barely made it. Getting a bit irradiated towards the end there, but we found some meds, so it's okay. Tim McDonald, hello.
Hello.
I'm
sorry, I'm fiddling with my webcam. I'm in noir mode now.
Very good. I like it.
So while we all go forwards in time, Tim is going back in time.
I would like to do this entire podcast speaking as though I was like a Raymond Chandler character, but I won't.
It's difficult. He's a very good writer, and when you try to emulate him, you realise how good he is, because it's not easy.
No, it's not. I think it would be possible for me to sort of write a script for us in that manner, but doing it on fly, that would be a nightmare.
Improvising noir dialogue is rough, I would say. I thought about trying and then realised I would have no idea what I was saying, so I just didn't do it. Right, yeah. Let's talk about what happened. the deluge of PC activity over the Christmas and New Year period. Well, all right. I suppose the main thing that happened over Christmas was that Steam broke. I didn't actually notice Steam breaking because it only happened for about an hour and a half, I think, on Christmas Day. Was it Christmas Day, Paul, or Christmas Eve? Christmas Day, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was either one or all rolling into or-ish, depending on where you were.
That's true, yeah, time zone permitting. Yeah. They had a caching issue. They were under denial of service attack.
They were earning too much cash.
They were under denial of service attack from people looking at their store, probably. Yeah, reading between the lines. I don't know if this was a real attack or just people using them. But yeah, so then they had to. I don't know anything about this. Paul, you sometimes mention turning on the caching with our site. I don't really fully know what that means. I think Steam did it with their client.
Yeah, well, basically what it does is it keeps I've actually had the exact same problem that they had, where basically somebody
as popular as Steam.
Yes.
No, but no. God, if only we were, Tim. But basically what it does is if you go to a page, it stores a copy of that page, and then when the next person comes back, they get delivered that page that you've looked at. So effectively they see the data that you actually looked at. So it's just basically setting a copy of what a previous person who's visited that particular page would have seen. And usually in the case of something like user information or whatever, that would never be cached.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. That information was cached. And so it was kind of like a sort of perpetual cycle. When people were coming, it would create another page, but then that page would get viewed by the next person and so on.
So basically, if you looked at your account details, you might see someone else's.
Correct, but then your account details would likely be shown to somebody else who then came in next.
Right. I said like 30,000 people or so might have been affected, I think. 34,000 users, they reckon. Right?
I mean, the main story about this is actually Valve's completely useless way that they just cannot communicate with their users in any way, shape, or form, and then release a statement like 4 or 5 days after the events happened, and it's left up to everybody trying to figure out what the hell's going on and why they're seeing these things.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, really.
Yeah, on Christmas Day itself, you have no idea what's going on. You don't know, as it turns out, the extent of it doesn't seem to have been that bad. But you don't know this at the time, and yeah, no one.
No, it's the sort of thing that within minutes of it happening, a Valve rep needs to get on and say, "Look, we're aware of this.
Yeah,
This is what's happening. Do not be too concerned."
and like I know it's Christmas Day and everything, but I'm pretty certain they're going to have some people around at all times.
Well, the problem with Steam as well is that when these incidents happen, is you immediately get people going, "Oh, my account was hacked. Oh, I've lost all my credit. Oh, something's been stolen from my." And most of the time, it's a load of bollocks. But what it does do is people who maybe not quite so in the know start freaking out and panicking, and it just perpetuates this cycle of, "Oh my God, the world is doomed. Everything's falling apart on Steam."
I think it's fair enough if if you're a layperson and you hear that people can see your account details, then yeah, you start worrying about, oh shit, I've got a credit card saved to that. I've got my address,
exactly,
phone number, and everything, and it sounds worrying. And you need Valve to be like, no, don't worry, guys, it's fine.
Yeah, well, Valve are shit at PR. We know this.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. I'm wondering why I'm following Steam support on Twitter. Because I thought, maybe what they actually did, maybe they mentioned this on Twitter. Like they said, we're looking into this possible issue, we'll let you know. And then the update that they actually released sort of on, what was it, New Year's Eve or whatever, maybe that was, maybe that was the finale. They'd already been talking about this on Twitter. Have they bollocks? They've made one tweet since the 15th of May.
Yeah, I mean, basically this was just left up to users to figure it out, or people who were in the know to sort of realize what was going on, which was it's kind of worrying when you have a company that is worth so much money, cannot even be arsed to pay somebody double time on Christmas Day or whatever, or triple time, or quadruple time even, or Gabe's salary for that day, just to make sure that something someone's covering it and the information is getting out.
The best source for it at the time was SteamDB, that site, which isn't affiliated with Valve. They're not attached to Valve, but it was them who were kind of putting up an article about it and tweeting about it, going, well, this is what we think's happening. This is what seems to be going on. We're not Valve, though, so don't...
I mean, they had to put out a tweet saying, oh, yeah, we're not affiliated with Valve in any way.
Yeah, I know it seems like we are, because we're the people dealing with this information. Where's Doug Lombardi? Where's his... He's the communications man.
No, he's not. We know he's not the communications
in theory,
man.
He's the communications man.
He is the communications man. It's just that, he doesn't actually like doing communications or talking to people, dealing with the public or the press.
He was doing some Christmas things. His phone was off, so they were in trouble. No, it's just,
with a company like Valve, they can only afford one PR person. And his phone was off. There was no one else. They just had to leave it until they managed to catch him on the 30th of December.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really acceptable. Because what happens when it is more of a crisis and they have been, I don't know, properly hacked or something more serious? They're probably still going to take 3 days to respond, but that's not good enough. It's very poor, frankly. I don't know much more to say about that, and I don't know. All they can do is, I don't know if this is a staffing problem. I don't know. It's not. It can't be a money problem. They have enough of that kicking around. Is it just they don't have someone in this sort of role in enough authority to deal with it? I don't know.
It's just a problem that needs to be resolved. And hopefully this year they'll get their shit together and resolve it.
Yeah, because it's not good enough to be... how long did it take? About 3 days, 4 days or so? It was a while before they...
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 days. But if they don't sort it out, I'm going to start using Uplay and Origin.
Well, I hope you like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, Paul, because it's pretty much all you're going to be playing through that. And
really expensive Assassin's Creed and Far Cry while we're at it.
Yeah.
Don't forget, the UK prices are all in euros, so...
Oh, great. That's just what you want. Right. Well, moving on to something slightly more recent. Well, we mentioned this. I was talking to you a little bit about this before we started the podcast, Paul. But let's talk about Oculus Rift. They are, if you backed the Rift on Kickstarter at, I think it was like the $300 level or above, you're going to be getting a consumer version as standard. They're just going to send you one. That's quite nice, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's not like they're short of cash, is it, really?
Still, it wasn't something I was expecting necessarily. They announced that you're going to be able to pre-order the consumer one from Wednesday. They still hadn't given the price out, which was making me nervous. The fact that they haven't talked anything about price and they're leaving it to the last possible minute makes me think this is going to be expensive.
It's going to be. I reckon it's just going to be short of 400. I reckon.
You think just under like 399, that kind of.
When you say, are you talking dollars or pounds?
Yeah.
Dollars, not pounds. Jesus, no.
So in pounds, it's still going to be £399.
Yes. That's how currency exchange rates work.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think it might be closer to 5.
Oh, no way! I wouldn't buy that piece of shit for 5. No way.
I think it might be that. The fact that they haven't really talked about the price at all, and they're now preemptively doing stuff like this, so that when they do release an expensive price, everyone will go like, "Oh, but if you'd backed it initially, see, you'd have just got one, so you should have done that." But they're heading off the expensive price PR with some good news first. That's my theory.
See, I think, and let me finish before you jump in. I think it's going to be 50 quid on eBay within a year.
Well, what, when the V2 is about to come out and you'll be able to get the first one on the cheap. Well, we'll have to wait a year before we know if you're correct, Tim. But you probably are.
I think. See, the problem is you've got the Vive, and then you've got the Rift, and the Vive, as far as I'm concerned, is the better.
Excuse me, we decided. I can't remember.
Sorry,
we decided it's not called the Vive, Paul. It's called the Vive.
The Vive.
Vive.
Yeah, but the problem with the Vive is that when it goes wrong, Valve are going to take about a week getting back to you to go, "Oh, it's this thing that's wrong with it. Sorry, everyone."
Well, they've just announced today. Well, they've just shown off the new version of it, which comes with a forward-facing camera, which is actually quite a nice addition.
Does it actually come with some fucking drivers? Because this is the problem with the Steam controller.
Well, I don't know. We'll have to contact Mr. Vive to find out.
Although, admittedly, the reason why the Steam controller does that is probably because the Steam controller is simultaneously 6 joysticks and 3 mice. So,
well, look, we can only hope that there's another company, HTC, involved here, so it's not going to.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I don't know what.
That's just going to make it worse. You're going to contact Steam support, and a week later they'll get back to you and tell you to contact HTC support. And then a week tell you to go and talk to Valve.
Well, yeah, possibly. But I don't know. I think that's look out of the two. That's looking like the better piece of kit, actually. To be honest.
Forgive my ignorance. What is the benefit of a forward-facing camera? What's the deal with that?
Well, it means that if you should be able to switch it so that you don't have to take the damn thing off to see what's in front of you.
Oh, okay, I see.
Basically means that you can use the Vive as a really shit and heavy pair of glasses.
Yeah,
but
look
at it. Yeah, that's true. But when I don't know.
The main thing for it, the main benefit for it, I think, would be for augmented reality.
Well, if there was some way, like for example, when you're playing Elite Dangerous, right, and you have like 89 billion keys, and you have joystick setup and all that shit, but you still need to use the keys for some things because you just can't get everything on everything.
Oh, okay.
If there was some way where you could see, that.
So you can have a quick look at what's actually in front of you, rather than popping the visor up.
Oh, because that really pissed me off with the lead dangerous.
This will work as long as the button is actually on the Vivier itself and not one of the keyboard buttons.
In which case, you're screwed.
No, I think that the main use of that will be for augmented reality stuff more than anything. But maybe that's just me. AR is quite popular with the phones and with the 3DS and the Vitas and all the rest of them.
How's that going to work? Does that mean you're going to have to wear it like outside and stuff, or is it just augmented reality in your house?
Yeah, it could just be in whatever room you're in. There are various bits and pieces. I mean, wasn't that what Microsoft were talking about when they were talking about VR stuff ages ago?
Oh, that's HoloLens things.
Style menus, yeah.
HoloLens, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that. I heard it had a really terribly low field of view. That was the last thing I heard about it.
Well, I just mean that's one of the possible sort of applications. You don't necessarily move around your house. But...
Sure, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you can't move around your house anyway because it's got bloody cables. You can't go very far, can you?
Well, you're supposed to be able to move around the room, aren't you? Because it's got these lighthouse tower things. For you.
That's it. I've got it. We can build like a trolley, right, that you put your PC on.
Okay.
Right, you just pull it around behind you.
Like if you've got a sort of oxygen tank that you need to kind of pull around.
The problem with that is the PC has cables.
But, we'll come up with something. We'll put a generator underneath the trolley, which will power the PC.
Water-cooled generator.
You just get a laptop, and then you can, assuming you haven't spent $4,000 on this laptop, everything you look at through the Vivier is going to be in like 640 by 480 resolution.
20 frames per second, yeah.
Well, is it a GTX 970? They're saying is the minimum recommendation for VR now.
Yeah.
Well, that's another story this week was NVIDIA popping up this VR stamp that they're going to put in all their hardware now and on PCs to basically say, hey, it's VR compatible.
VR ready.
I still want VR to fail, so all that money they've wasted on doing that just goes to shit.
So bitter.
I know, I am bitter. Bitter man.
I don't know. It's just a marketing device, isn't it? It doesn't really mean much other than, we reckon if you have a 970, you'll be fine.
Well, I mean, let's face it, anyone who's going to buy a VR headset is going to be probably pretty tech savvy enough, anyway,
you would hope
to know what they're going to need.
I think Mr. Lucky said that if you run 3D Mark, the Fire Strike. What?
Mr. Lucky.
That's what he's called, Palmer Lucky, isn't he?
It's Mr. Lucky.
Lucky. Mr. Lucky. Alright, Mr. Lucky. He reckons if you run Fire Strike in 3D Mark and get 9,000 or something, then you can run VR. But that's basically the same as saying you need a 970 or a 390, I guess, for AMD.
That's probably true if you're Mr. Lucky, but Mr. Grumpy called him a cunt, and Mr. Cynic just thinks that it's a bunch of bullshit.
Where does Mr. Tickle fit into all of this? Can you play VR successfully while Mr. Tickle is having his way with you?
Right, moving on.
Can you successfully perform a planetary landing in VR in Elite while being tickled?
Is that a euphemism?
Perform a planetary landing. It's a very...
We've really started off the year as we mean to go on.
Happy New Year, everybody.
We've gone from Mr. Men references to extremely bizarre sexual practices.
I wanted a speaking of extremely bizarre sexual practices segue, but Windows 10? I don't know.
Practices. Be sure to check out our alternative awards. There are a few in there related.
Very good, yes. Very good. Yeah, you should do that. You should read that article. Quite a few people have. I'm pleased. Go have a look. Our annual alternative awards. They're not your standard prizes. Let's say
we did actually have a few more standard ones in there this
year.
year.
A couple. But there's also but our first one is most surprising hardcore gay sex scene.
Yes.
That's what we lead off with.
Which is just wrong, because is that not a small child's head looking on?
And he's the devil though, so it's okay.
Oh, he's the devil's child. He's already murdered about 4 floors of people in a hospital.
He's fine with seeing a little kinky gay action. It's no problem. What was I going to move on to? All right, let's do the Assassin's Creed rumors. Which emerged the other day. I wasn't totally confident about writing these up because they're a bit. Kotaku has heard a source saying these things, but
but first of all, let's just say that this first came out because it appeared on 4chan, right?
Yeah. I mean, let's also be fair to Kotaku. Whatever else you think about them, they're really fucking good at leaking Assassin's Creed information. They've done it for about 4 years in a row.
I can't argue with that. No, that's true.
And yeah, while the stuff did appear on 4chan, I think the Kotaku piece was in response to that, saying, yes, we've heard this for a long time. Here are some other things related to this that we've heard about it. Since it's out there, we'll also add this and this. But
okay, right. So what they were basically saying was, yeah, okay, they're right. But we knew this. We knew this ages ago. And here's some other stuff. They didn't know about this, but we did.
What they're saying is, oh shit, the rumor's out there now. Our page clicks are disappearing rapidly. We need to get our own information out there. Too sweet is effectively what happened there. But anyway, again, they're really good at leaking Assassin's Creed information, so I'm prepared to give this a bit of credence. Hey. Right.
Oh, God. Boo.
So the main... I think the most interesting thing is that supposedly there will be no Assassin's Creed this year. That they're having they're having a year off, which is pretty interesting and kind of what we've been suggesting and asking for a while. So
I don't know. I can't decide if this is a good idea or a bad idea because usually it goes good Assassin's Creed, shit Assassin's Creed, good Assassin's Creed. So.
Yeah, you're right.
So does that mean that if the last one was shit, it would go shit Assassin's Creed, no Assassin's Creed, shit Assassin's Creed, no Assassin's Creed, shit Assassin's Creed? They'll all be shit.
No, it just means that we have to wait an extra year in between. So we get the shit one and it's shit, and then we have to wait another year on top of that before we get the good one.
But maybe the shit one would have been the hypothetical 2016 one that's now not happening. So 2016 just takes the bullet for the shit one, even though they're not releasing it. And then 2017, they're back with a good one again. I don't know. I'm saying maybe it's a yearly thing, not necessarily a release.
What you're saying, Peter, is to have a whole development team making an imaginary Assassin's Creed game for the next 12 months.
Yeah, that they're not going to release. Because they know it will be bad. Yes.
They could just make like Stickmen doing parkour and then say, all right, that's the shit one.
Actually, to be fair, there will be an Assassin's Creed of sorts because they're little side-scrolly 2D ones. A couple of them are coming out, but that they're a different thing, so that's fine.
I think unless I've forgotten a game, this actually does hold up quite well. If assuming you're just going with the main series, so Assassin's Creed 1 was shit.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed 2 was good.
Yep.
Assassin's Creed 3 was shit. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was good.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Unity was shit. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was good.
It was good, yeah. Yeah, they're the main ones, I think, aren't they? Because we're discounting things like Brotherhood and Revelations that were...
And Rogue.
Rogue, yeah.
Yeah, they're side games. And I know that Syndicate is... I think its own files call it Assassin's Creed 6, so...
Oh, they do? Okay. Right. That's reasonable. Yeah, I think Syndicate's a main one. It's got enough gravitas and oomph about it. But I'd kind of say the same about Rogue, though, to be honest, at least on PC.
Yeah, but Rogue was kind of
It was a weird one. Yeah. It was a weird one.
Rogue was Assassin's Creed 3, only with some of the Black Flag stuff shunted in.
Yeah, it's more of a Brotherhood type.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I would call it more like an Assassin's Creed 3 spin-off sequel thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So this one supposedly, this 2017 one, will supposedly be in Egypt. The code name for it is Empire, or Empires. There was also some stuff about maybe it would have some Rome-related activities as well, which could still tie in with ancient Egypt. You might toddle off to Rome at some point, because obviously those civilizations interacted somewhat during their lifetimes. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. And also, the thing that Kotaku slipped in there was that they reckon Watch Dogs 2 will be this year, and be in San Francisco. So that was just in there as like a lone sentence. They didn't know anything else about it. So, and maybe Watch Dogs will follow the Assassin's Creed tradition, and Watch Dogs 2 will be really good.
I hope so. This is, I've talked about this many times. This is what tends to happen with new Ubisoft franchises, is that the first one tends to be a really good idea, but it doesn't really work that well. And then the second one is actually what the first should have been.
And they go, oh, here's all the bits everyone really liked. So, from Watch Dogs, it's hacking and stuff. But it won't be Aiden Pierce, because everyone thought he was shit. It'll be someone else.
It won't be that story, because that story was shit, and lots of other bits and pieces about Watch Dogs that were shit. Yeah. But I mean, that's what happened with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed 1 was a really good idea with a pretty arse game attached to it, and then Assassin's Creed 2 was actually that idea done properly.
Yeah, I mean, I still very much like the cities from the first Assassin's Creed, and the fact that it was kind of set in the Crusades era was pretty cool, because there's not a whole lot of stuff that does that really.
It was actual assassins and Templar.
Yeah. It's just a shame that the activities you did were extraordinarily tedious after about the first couple of hours.
Yes,
which is a shame. In Watch Dogs, Tim.
Probably can't remember, but go on.
So Aiden Pierce's motivation is like that his niece dies or whatever. Isn't it or something? I've read some theories that initially it was going to be like his wife dies or something, and that some of the story fits that better. Like it kind of makes more sense or something, and that it might have been changed at the last minute to be someone else that's motivated in classic fashion. Ooh, someone's died. Now I'm motivated for revenge.
Possibly. I honestly can't remember who it was. I think it was his niece. Because I can vaguely remember going and seeing his sister a few times. But yeah, that would probably make sense. The worst thing, right, was that I was expecting something. You remember the really good Watch Dogs trailer, the E3 one that blew everyone away?
I do. The one where you're in like sort of art gallery type, art event, fashion show type thing.
And that kind of gives this impression that there's this conspiracy that Aiden knows about, and he's kind of hunting down the members of it in a very Assassin's Creed style fashion.
Sure, yeah.
Sending a message and so on, and then you actually play the game, and that is totally untrue. That mission happens, but it's completely different.
Right.
It's right near the end of the game, and you're just sort of looking for some hacker guy, who's apparently going to be there, and that's pretty much it. The story really did feel like it got changed repeatedly throughout.
Yeah. If the sequel's in San Francisco, that's kind of neat. Partly because San Francisco is an interesting city, and it was very cool in Driver San Francisco. Different game, obviously, but it has.
I think I vaguely remember San Francisco in Midtown Madness.
Right. It's always good for driving games because of the hills, obviously.
Yes.
I
remember taking cars going at extremely high speed and basically going flying over those hills, sort of landing on top of one of the little trams that ran down the middle of the streets.
Yeah, and it has a kind of spread of environments as well, because it's got kind of it's got hill type areas, it's got docklands, it's got obviously a lot of industrial stuff and residential stuff, and so that could work. That could be all right. Or who knows? Kotaku could be completely wrong, and Watch Dogs 2 isn't even a thing. But I'd be surprised if it wasn't a thing in some way. It may not be out this year, but I'm pretty sure.
What I want? I was going to say what I want is a new Rocksmith, but that's actually not true because Rocksmith 2014 basically got it right. But I do want another Splinter Cell though. I actually want another Splinter Cell because Blacklist was really fucking good. And they can tie this in with the other bits and pieces they've been doing as well, like Rainbow Six Siege, which has its whole little mysterious terrorist group that Team Rainbow has been reformed to stop, and then absolutely no single player campaign, so it's irrelevant.
Team Rainbow. I love that they're still called Team Rainbow. It just sounds like such a, I don't know, Saturday morning cartoon.
I was thinking more gay pride, but yeah, there is that too.
Sure, that too. Which is fine. I'm glad that gay pride finally has some good representation in the game.
Yes, members of the SAS and GRGN and Spetsnaz.
That's right. Punching back against those stereotypes. That's good. Excellent. Right, that's enough on Assassin's Creed, I think, especially since it's based on rumours and sources and innuendo.
We can never have enough innuendo in our podcast.
That's true. That's true. Right, one more thing on my list here is Microsoft popped out a bunch of games that they're going to be bringing to PC in 2016. It included Recore, which I think this is the first time they've officially gone, yeah, alright, this one's coming to the PC as well, like most of the other things that we do. So there you go. We haven't seen a whole lot of that yet. I think the last bit of media was the E3 reveal trailer and the little interview thing that went along with that. But it's like a lady and her robot friend, and the robot friend can change into different types of robots, and that's about all I know about that game.
So hang on, this is like A Boy and His Blob, only with a robot instead of a blob that you feed jelly beans to.
Maybe. Don't know.
I actually don't remember anything about this game. It's like at all. I don't recognize the name.
It was like the first or one of the first things in the Xbox conference thing at E3. So, you know, we're going back like 7 months here. I'm not surprised if you don't remember it.
I might have been off trying to find some sort of drugs to loosen the pain at that point. I don't know.
Most likely. And the irritating thing about this list as well is that the majority of the games on here, a couple are listed as Steam, a lot of them are listed as Windows 10, which means they're probably going to try and make it Windows 10 store exclusive, because that's a really good idea, Microsoft. You want to do that. That's the best way to get as many as possible playing it.
I don't know whether I'm more worried about games being Windows 10 store exclusive or games being Windows 10 exclusive.
I think, well, that implies that they're Windows 10 exclusive, right? If they're in the...
Well, yeah, I know, but I mean stuff appearing on Steam, for instance, that is Windows 10 exclusive.
Oh, right, yeah, I get you.
I'm not sure which one I'm more worried about, to be honest.
Who's using Windows 10 here? I am. Anyone else?
I'm not.
No.
I keep needing to install it on my laptop, and every single day when I turn on this PC, it comes up and goes, "Hey, do you want to upgrade to Windows 10? It's totally..." And I go, "No, fuck off."
When does that free offer run out? It must be soonish.
A few months, I think. I think you've still got a few months. It was like the middle of last year, I think, when they...
I will ask Dr. Google.
It started getting really persuasive, because some of them it would pop up and it would be like, the options would be, yes, I'll install Windows 10 now, or yes, but I'll do it later. Basically, there was no way to say no, other than using the big X.
29th of July, apparently, 2016.
There you go, got a while.
That's when it expires.
Meanwhile, I guess I'll review Windows 10 games if any of those come out in the interim.
So you're on 10.
I am on 10, yes.
And what's the verdict? What's
your thoughts? You are the only one amongst them who can actually play that MOBA Gigantic. Because I did play that I did play that for a bit, and then they went, "Oh no, it's Windows 10 exclusive now," and now I can't.
Yeah. But my verdict is it's a lot like Windows 7, but a bit more annoying in some ways. I mean, I've turned off a lot of the annoying shit. I turned off Ask Cortana. I turned off there's a fucking like Xbox overlay thing that whenever you're loading up certain games, it's like, hey, you can, I don't know, merge with your Xbox profile or some garbage. I got rid of that stuff.
Wasn't that Games for Windows Live? Didn't they try that already?
It's a lot like that, yeah. But I turned that off pretty quick. Yeah, I've basically tried to make it as much like Windows 7 as possible, and having achieved that, it's fine. So, yeah. I've heard that it can be a bit persistent and annoying with driver updates sometimes, that like if you want to roll back to a driver, it'll go like, no, but this is the latest one, I'm just going to download it for you, because fuck you. So that might be annoying.
Did we notice that Rise of the Tomb Raider now actually has a PC release date?
We did.
Yes, you did. Okay, excellent.
That day, what is that date, Tim? Come on, let's slip it into the podcast as news.
That day is the 28th of January.
Yeah, good stuff. I think it has some minimum system requirements, I believe I saw. They weren't very demanding, because my old PC would fit them, so they can't be.
I've already sent our Square Enix contact an email asking for review code.
Cool.
However, as the last time I sent him an email, I think I threatened him with firing cats at the Square Enix office building. This may be...
This is where your lifetime of threats come back to haunt.
2016. This has got to be the year you just leave off that email.
You've got to stop threatening PR people, Tim.
It's worse. It's worse now, Paul. I'm back on Twitter again.
Yeah, you are.
No, it won't be cats. It'll be real rockets. The next email.
Oh man, Twitter.
There was I did see that one comment we had on our New Year's message thing basically said that you can't let me go, I'm crazy, and I've opted to take that as I have to be chained up in the basement. It's too dangerous to set me free.
We only let you out for the podcast. This is what people don't realise. Tim gets shut back in a room after we do this. Basically, and occasionally we feed him games under the door.
I've got one of right now. I've got one of those Hannibal Lecter masks on.
You're very fluent in English and what's the word I'm looking for here? Articulate, considering that you're wearing a Hannibal Lecter mask. Oh, very good. Yeah. When I emailed PR for Dragon's Dogma code, they were she'd looked at our release date lists and was like, "Oh, you've got Dragon's Dogma as January. It's 15th of January now. You can change that." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And well done for reading our release date list. Good stuff.
At least somebody's reading it.
It's nice when PR people actually take an interest, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes you wonder if they're actually looking at your site at all or really paying any attention whatsoever. But yeah,
as opposed to Namco, who still keep asking who we are.
Yeah.
We're the only to review PC versions of your games.
The best ones are the ones who send emails addressed to editors, like, not the last editor, but maybe like 2 or 3 editors ago. Like, well done. Keeping up.
I'm always interested with the ones. I'm fascinated by the ones who haven't had contact with us for a while. I'm always curious to see who they try and contact out of us, who they address the email to.
Yeah,
so it tends to be a pretty even split as to whether they go for you or me or Paul.
Yeah. Don't know. Who knows what goes on in the minds of PR people? It's a mysterious place. Mysterious place.
That's
right.
All the games journalists, I think. So
yeah, that's true.
Traits.
I think that's about it for news. Obviously, we've got the Consumer Electronics Show starting tomorrow, so all of this VR business and technologically related shenanigans will no doubt be emerging from that.
This podcast will be outdated within 24 hours of us recording.
Yeah. Listen to it quickly, otherwise in retrospect, our Oculus Rift pricing discussion might be interesting if we're all completely wrong. So enjoy that. I hope that was...
Yeah, it'll turn out that they will say they will only be on sale on eBay and it'll cost 50 quid.
Tim vindicated. So yeah, game wise, I guess. Paul, did you obviously before Christmas you had this article saying like, here's the games that I want to play if Downton Abbey doesn't distract me too much.
Oh God, Downton Abbey.
Did you make it to any of those games?
I did. Where did I make it? I got as far as installing Satellite Rain,
Very good.
which was pretty good. I thought.
The first battle. Get installed.
Yeah, so that was cool. I was pleased with that. 10 out of 10 for the install process. And I did actually manage to squeeze in quite a bit of Marvel Heroes, actually, which was on my list.
All right. Yeah.
And then I realised that after playing it for like a couple of hours, I'd actually finished everything that there was to do in the game already. So, it's kind of weird because I haven't gone into it for a while. And I kind of lost where my quest chain was in my brain.
You basically already finished it, is what you were saying, and then you went
yeah.
So you'd already finished it, and since the last time you played, there was only another few hours of new content.
Yeah, I kind of thought I was missing something, and then realised that I hadn't actually missed anything at all.
This is presumably excluding the masses of sort of end game grinding that inevitably accompanies any of these ARPGs.
Yeah, I just wasn't really. I'm not really a big sort of, just keep playing it type of person. So that was kind of done, and then stupidly I ended up playing Just Cause 3 again. So that
There's nothing stupid about that. Well, there's a lot.
No, but it wasn't on my list.
But...
there's quite a lot stupid about Just Cause 3, but it is very.
It wasn't on my list, so I was disappointed that it coaxed me back and kept me away from my list.
I thought you did have Just Cause 3 on there.
No, I don't think I did.
Oh no, that was that was on your ones I enjoyed in 2015 list. I'm sorry, I was confusing the two. Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun. I didn't get my rib was really playing up as well, so that was just an annoyance.
How is that? Are you healed up?
Actually, in the last 2 days, it's almost like it's just got so much better. But I had a few really painful days of not being able to sleep properly and just not being able to lie on one side. And it kept making this weird clicking noise, which made me feel sick every time it did it. Because you could feel the internal click, but you could also hear it as well, which is like, oh.
Nice. Well, I'm glad it's reformed adamantium style.
Oh, I hope so. I hope it's not like sort of grown back at a 90-degree angle or something.
I think you would notice, especially with fighting forwards. You surely would see that. Sim, what about you? You got shiny new graphics cards.
I did. I played a lot of stuff because that's basically that, and watching TV is pretty much all I do these days. I played Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I liked a hell of a lot more than I expected to. I actually really, really enjoyed that. I also started the Jack the Ripper DLC for it, which I'm enjoying a lot less.
I've done a little bit of that as well.
It seems okay. Is it just me, or is that fear mechanic totally fucking pointless?
Yeah, probably. I think they just threw that in there. Here's a new thing that you can do.
And Evie has lost her ability to turn invisible.
Yes, yeah, she's kind of regressed. She's forgotten a lot of her. I guess she hasn't been in training recently. Things have been a bit easy for the assassins, so she's forgotten how to do a lot of things.
Yeah. But yeah, the fact that she's got like fear bombs and the spikes and the brutal takedowns and stuff, it's like, yeah, there is all of this stuff. Or you can just like stab people and instantly kill them.
And by the way, the takedowns were already quite brutal.
Yes.
They are in fact more brutal. They were already pretty far up there.
These ones are pretty certain are non-lethal though. The ones that she, the brutal takedowns that she has now. The bits where you're playing as Jack, obviously, those ones are hugely brutal.
That's where I've done the most.
Anyway, yeah, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, I really like it a lot. Way more than I was expecting to, because generally speaking, I get bored with Assassin's Creed games within about 3 hours at this point, but I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Nice.
Other than that, I did also play a bit of Rainbow Six Siege.
Did you get one of these as a freebie with your card? Or?
Yes, I did. Assassin's Creed Syndicate was really, really cheap over the sales. If you shopped around, you could find it for about 15 quid.
So it hasn't sold very well then, presumably.
I don't know. This might just be the typical Ubisoft thing of game is out, drop it in price. Also, didn't this come out on consoles a while before PC?
It was like a month, I think, yeah.
Okay.
So yes, but not dramatically.
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege also dropped in price, but not nearly as much.
So how is Siege?
Actually, really good. And I can say that the community appears to be lovely. The big problem I've actually had is finding games, which may just be because I checked the Steam stats. I don't have it on Steam. I have it on Uplay because Nvidia free code.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Steam stats, like whenever I check it, there's like 10,000 people playing it or something like that.
Oh.
So it's not like it's dead on its arse or anything like that. I think it's just a case of to actually find people in the UK playing, I need to stop searching for games at 3 a.m.
Probably, yes.
No, it's the community actually seems good. Like I'm fucking shit at the game. I am just absurdly terrible. But regardless of this, there's no flaming or anything like that. Like there was one round we lost where they just completely slaughtered all of us almost immediately, and then they did it again on the next round as well. And rather than any of the complaining or anything, it was like, oh, they must just know this map really well. They can tell what we're going to do. And then we managed to work out some actual tactics. We communicated, and we won a couple of rounds.
So what are you telling me, Tim? None of your teammates actually shot you in the head?
I did have one game where someone shot me in the back about 4 times as soon as the round started, and then after I turned around and shot him once, he stopped doing that because he apparently realised that friendly fire is a thing.
Which you would hope it is on a more tactical game of this nature.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear though, because so often that's not the case, and it's just people tossing racial and homophobic slurs at each other constantly. So the fact that it's pretty nice is that's really good.
I think part of it might be that it does feel like it's a bit of a smaller community. It might also be that I haven't played it enough to get access to ranked matches yet. So anything I play is casual.
Yeah.
Well, there is no ranking on the line, but
right.
Yeah, it seems like a decent community, and it's an entertaining game. It's nice being able to sort of place a demolition charge on a wall and actually blast a big hole in that wall and use that as an entry point, and sort of very easily rappel up or down the side of buildings and come at your opponents from the ceiling, rather than just walking through the one door that there is.
I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate that in the alpha, yeah, that you could... it was like the little suburban house was the level in the alpha, and yeah, you could rappel up onto the roof and then find a window to hopefully bust into, or maybe not, because maybe the terrorists have barricaded it up, so then you have to blow it up, or maybe find a different place. So yeah, it was alright. It was alright.
I didn't play the alpha, so I don't know how much it's changed since then.
It's probably
but it seems
probably less wonky. It was a bit wonky in the alpha.
Yeah, it doesn't feel particularly wonky. I've seen a bunch of people complaining about sort of changes they've made to weapons, and this weapon's too good now. But because I've been playing it, I only started after that patch. I have no opinion.
Well, in the alpha, it was stuff like when you were rappelling, it's kind of seemed to be missing animation. It would just kind of spin your guy 90 degrees to be like, you're at 90 degrees rappelling up something now, and then, you no longer are, so now you're vertical again. It was a bit like, we haven't quite finished this bit yet. But, it made sense and it's fine.
No, there's none of that. There is none of that. But no, I've been having quite a good time with it. I've been wanting to play it more than I actually have, which is a pretty good sign with any multiplayer game, because I tend to get bored of them quite quickly. I'm a little bit concerned about its longevity, partly because of the fact that most of the rounds tend to kind of devolve down into the terrorists bunkering up into one room.
Right. Right.
And then it's just a case of finding and attacking that room rather than them being spread out. But I think that's probably just because it's 5v5. So it naturally comes down to defending something as hard as you can, rather than splitting up and getting picked off one by one.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It may be that will change, that people will, maybe higher ranked players already know that actually what you want to do on this map is you really don't want to let them get through this area, and you should put a guy up here and place some traps along here.
Yeah, or sort of start off a bit spread out and then kind of gradually fall back a bit, kind of thing. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working out sort of new bits and pieces. Like, I've only just figured out that when you're playing defensively, you can use the. It's a good idea to have one person using the security cameras of the building to sort of keep an eye and ping out where the assault team actually is and which members they've got, so you know what to expect. Is there going to be a guy bashing down a wall with a sledgehammer? Yeah, it's good. I like it. And other than that, I played and finished The Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone DLC.
All right.
Which, it's good.
Nice. I've been playing The Witcher 3 as well. I'm not leveled up enough to do Hearts of Stone, because I think you need to be about 30-ish to do that. And I'm at like 17 or 18 now. I just rescued Dandelion, if that gives people any indication of roughly whereabouts I am. So it's kind of like pointing me to Skellige now. But there's still so much to do in Novigrad and everywhere else that I'm not sure whether I want to do that yet. But
I would largely suggest ignoring any quests that are below your level unless they look really interesting. Because you will incredibly easily.
Yeah, I got one last night. There was some dwarf hanging around in Novigrad going like, "Oh, someone stole some documents off me," and it was like a level 2 quest. It's like, how the fuck did I miss this one? Anyway, and how would this have been relevant to me unless I went straight to Novigrad? I guess then maybe it would have been. But yeah, well, I've still got some like Triss side quest stuff which I'll probably do because she's fun and kind of a main character. So.
Without wishing to be spoilery, it is worth doing the individual character side quests.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of my thinking.
Triss, Yennefer, Dandelion.
Yeah.
Can't remember who else. Roche. Or Roach.
I've done some of those. Yeah.
And so on and so forth. It is worth doing sort of the sidekick character quests.
Generally, they seem to be the more interesting ones anyway, so that's kind of kept me wanting to do those ones rather than the basic, hey, I'm some guy and I've lost something, go get it.
Yeah. Although a few of those are quite interesting. There was one that I did in Hearts of Stone on a whim. It was a totally different... it wasn't Hearts of Stone related, it was just I was in the area. And I kind of triggered it off by accident. It turned out it was like a level 15 quest that I'd missed back much, much earlier in the game.
Yeah.
And it was a haunted house. And I was expecting it to be a haunted house.
Yeah.
And, well, there are several haunted house quests.
Yeah, I don't...
And some actually are, haunted houses. There are spectres and ghosts or whatever. This one wasn't. It was a bit more interesting than that.
Nice.
It was quite short, but it was a nice twist on the usual, which actually sums up Hearts of Stone really well. It's like a really extended version of a good side quest from The Witcher 3. It's not about saving the world or anything like that. It's sort of a singular story which doesn't tie into the grand scheme of things in any real way, shape or form, but it's a really interesting one with a lot of twists, and it does some very clever things. And the new enemy type is spiders, and CD Projekt Red are really proud of this, because they turn up all the fucking time.
Was there in your I can't remember in your review of The Witcher 3, did you say it's nice that there aren't any spiders in it? I seem to remember you writing somewhere at some point it's really nice that The Witcher 3 doesn't have spiders in it.
Possibly.
And now,
I mean, it does have the Arrakis, but they were in The Witcher 2, and like I say, they're not really spiders. They're more like sort of big armor-plated ants, I guess, something like that. They're insectoid, but
yeah,
I wouldn't call them arachnid. But no, these are absolutely, definitely giant spiders.
hooray!
And they pop up in pretty much every single main quest in the DLC. Even in quests where you would think they shouldn't exist, which I can't go into without spoilers, but there is a very ham-fisted reason why you have to fight them in one particular quest.
Luckily, though, Geralt has a skill where he can basically become a flamethrower, so that presumably helps with spiders.
I didn't actually use that on them. I mind-controlled one of them and then discovered that mind control is actually shit, and then I was just setting them on fire and using the Ard sign to fling them onto their backs.
That's also good.
Hearts of Stone also has really good boss fights, which was quite a surprise, because The Witcher 3's boss fights were rubbish.
Yeah, I haven't really met a boss fight in Witcher 3 that I've found particularly... I mean, they're okay. I haven't really run into one where I've thought, oh, this is garbage. But it's just, here's a guy with 3 health bars, 3 stages of health bar, where you need to beat up for a while.
They didn't do anything interesting or different.
No, I haven't finished it, but no, not so far.
No, for the most part, there are maybe a couple of exceptions, but yeah, for the most part, they are just, here is a guy with loads of health. You might have to try and roll away from this attack.
So I reckon
that's it.
Yeah.
But no, the Hearts of Stone bosses are actually, they're closer to puzzle bosses to an extent. You have to figure out what is going on with the bosses and how best to deal with them. Which is a nice touch. I like it. What did you play over the period, Pete?
It was mostly Witcher 3, to be honest, because I wasn't that well over the start of Christmas, and then I got better, but then I went to Portland, so I wasn't playing anything while I was there. Is that because Portland is really interesting and exciting? Yeah. Well, also I didn't take my PC with me, so... That would have been tricky. What did I see? Oh, I did see something game-related in Portland in the Science and Industry Museum. They had a guitar exhibit.
What was it? Was it an actual, like, brick-and-mortar video game store? Because I haven't seen one of them in a while.
No, I didn't see one of those. No, it was part of their guitar display. Not only did they have an empty cabinet labelled as air guitar, which was quite good.
I applaud that.
Yeah, with a full proper write-up and everything. They also had one that had a Guitar Hero controller in it as well. Or possibly a Rock Band. I'm not sure if they're different, but...
They are.
Anyway, so there you go. That's my video game-related sighting in Portland. They also had a scary machine that let you age yourself. It would show you what you would look like 20 years older, and accentuated all the wrinkles, which was moderately terrifying.
Did it remove more of your hair, or did it leave that as it was?
No, it kind of left that as it was, which would be inaccurate, I would say. But
did it at least sort of grey it up a bit?
Yes, I think so. It was mostly the facial wrinkles that it focused on. But
you get sort of did you get the liver spotting and all the rest of it as well?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Go, my God, if this is the future, I hope I die before I turn 50.
Pretty much. But yeah, so that was good. Went to an art gallery that didn't have much game related in it either.
Hang on, is this a veiled? Are you saying that games aren't art?
Well.
Let's please let's not get into this debate. discussion thing.
They absolutely could have had a video game related exhibit in the art museum. They just didn't. So there you go. So no, mostly Witcher 3, which is very good, as you know, Tim, because you played a whole bunch of it. And I'm enjoying it now that it's in 60 frames per second. This is good.
Yeah. I actually had quite a lot of difficulty getting it to work properly with my new video card. I was expecting to just be able to turn it on and put the details up to high and 60 frames a second. No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, the VSync in it is a bit weird, isn't it? I found that as well.
Well, that was that. It was also there were other bits and pieces. I discovered that the best thing to do, and there are multiple guides to this effect on the internet, is to not use the in-game options for things like anti-aliasing and so on, and just do that through the NVIDIA control panel. Okay. And then all of a sudden it's running at 110 frames a second.
I found the AAs alright, but maybe I'll turn it off and see if I get a massive frame boost.
I don't know. That turned out to be the sort of the primary problem for me. It's like using because NVIDIA's got its GeForce Experience tool, which lets you set up a game to their recommended settings for your system.
Right, yeah.
Which is usually pretty good. It normally gives a decent frame rate and so on and so forth. And that gave me around about 40. And I thought, well, this is still a bit juddery. I'm not a big fan of this.
You can do better than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I played around with it for a while and, basically offloading the anti-aliasing out of the game and getting the NVIDIA control panel to do that turned out to fix most of my issues. On the other hand, I also spent most of my time playing Gwent. So...
Well, I've heard that's an issue that people have, yes.
There is... When I can't remember, I don't think this was on the 3 Moves Ahead podcast. I think it was in the sort of little chat we had before or after. Apparently there is a mod for The Witcher 3, which turns every battle into Gwent. You hit an enemy and it starts a Gwent game.
Some people are going to love that. Man, that's going to take a long time to play the game, because especially when you run 12 drowners. Fucking hell.
But Gwent is... My addiction to that has been renewed. I really need to start playing deck other than the Northern Realms, though.
Are there any mandatory Gwent bits? Because I haven't really played it at all, and I'm worried it might throw one at me eventually, and I'm just going to lose. Although if I can lose and it's fine, then that's alright.
There aren't any... I don't think there are any mandatory Gwent bits. There are bits where you may have to play Gwent, but it doesn't really matter if you win or lose. And there are loads of optional side quests, like Gwent tournaments for money and
I've seen those. Yeah.
There are characters with unique cards that you can only get if you beat them, and there are only certain times you can play them. But
I'm sure it's
good.
You
should totally.
I'm sure it's good. I'm just afraid to get into it because the game's going to take me long enough as it is. I don't want to be playing this card game for another 10 hours on top of that.
Fair point.
So I've been kind of just avoiding it, really. But
well, let me put it this way: they could, if they wanted to, they could probably release a standalone Gwent game. And I know there are physical Gwent cards, but I mean a digital Gwent game, and I would fully play it.
I'm actually surprised they haven't done that, and maybe they will. I can see that happening at some point this year.
Like I said, they like the collector's editions of The Witcher 3 and so on actually came with Gwent decks.
Right.
I think the same for Hearts of Stone as well. That came with a Gwent deck too. If you bought the physical deluxe edition or whatever it was. But yeah, I'm sort of surprised there is no digital version of Gwent. Although you could actually probably do that very easily with something like Tabletop Simulator or something anyway.
Right.
You just need to port the cards in. It's a surprisingly robust game. The Witcher's always had reasonably good mini-games. I really liked the dice mini-game that they had in Witcher 2.
Dice poker or something, yeah.
Yeah, but that was obviously slightly less in-depth than a full-on tactical collectible card game.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they also integrated it quite nicely by making it so that you still like collect the cards in game. You know, certain merchants will sell you stuff, and presumably you get them from quests occasionally and things like that.
Yeah.
That's quite...
You will occasionally find some lying around. I found a cow in the Hearts of Stone DLC. It is a ranged card that does exactly 0 damage.
Excellent.
So that is totally useless, and I expect there is an achievement for winning a round after playing a cow. And there are most of the NPCs want to play Gwent or are willing to play Gwent, and beating them will unlock a unique card and so on and so forth. Gwent is really well integrated and really good.
Excellent. Oh, we had a good time with our gaming over Christmas then. That's nice.
Yeah, none of us played shit games. Well, actually, I almost certainly did at one point, but I've probably blocked it out.
Yeah. Right. So people who've been looking at our site over the festive period will have noticed our mighty release date list. Is that correct, Paul? We have a mighty release date list.
Yeah, and it's been continuously added to. We've made some more changes to it today. I have as well, at least anyway.
I added Recore yesterday and changed Dragon's Dogma's dates.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be busy over the next sort of few weeks on this, actually, as more dates actually get announced, so there'll be a lot of stuff being finalised and shifted around.
Most likely.
But we've done it in a month-by-month system and not by genre or anything or stupid like that. So basically it is as it is, but when you get to the date, the games that haven't got a date for 2016, they're all done in alphabetical order. Right. So that's how it works if you're wondering why the list is the way it is.
It's chronological order up until you get to the games that are just listed as sometime this year.
Yeah.
Because we don't. They're coming out.
And the exception of Star Citizen, which hasn't ever got a release date, but it's listed there anyway. Because someone was asking why haven't you added it? Well, what's the point, really?
Have you also, if you put Star Citizen on there, have you put Half-Life 3 on there as well?
Yeah, could do actually, just for the japes.
Is Star Citizen listed just as Star Citizen, or have you listed it as Squadron 42? Because if it's Squadron 42, I think there's a fair chance that might actually happen towards the end of this year, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't want to add it because I'm not convinced it will be this year.
No, neither am I. I think it's a possibility. Anyway. So have a look through that. Marvel at how many games are coming out on PC.
Look at which months are going to make your wallet weep.
Yes, indeed.
Nearly all of them.
Yeah, pretty much. So this week I'm guessing it's going to be Consumer Electronics Show news stuff mostly. Beyond that, I am expecting a Dragon's Dogma review code anytime soon, but that's not out for another 10 days or so.
It's always slow to start at the end of this time of year, so don't panic.
Yeah.
And I see that the argument is still raging on my Witcher 3 review.
Yeah, it came back the other day. Still debating the score, whether it's correct or not.
Yeah, because that's the most important thing, obviously.
Clearly. Anyway.
Well, look at it this way. CD Projekt Red were apparently happy enough with it that after they read the review, they offered us the DLC code.
Yeah. It's nice of them. I look forward to more contentious reviews coming from PC Invasion across 2016. And of course, more podcasts. Another one of which will be appearing next week. Thanks for listening to this one. And we'll have another 50 odd more for you in the coming year. What a frightening thought. Goodbye.
Can I stay out of the basement a bit longer this time, please?
If you promise to behave and not bite any PR people. Do you promise? Soft bitings. Don't draw blood, okay? Is that fair?
I better go back to the basement. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
And silent under the dawn of that last great day.
Peter, I'm so happy you've got a computer now.
I know, I can review proper games again. It's good.
You can review contentious games.